Hey everyone, Mo here, and before the video begins, I just want to let you guys know that my schedule has opened up for me to do coaching again. So if you're interested in private one-on-one coaching for me to help you, whether you're a newer player and you want to excel at the game very quickly and learn the fundamentals without developing any bad habits early, or if you're an experienced player who's already maybe platinum or diamond in your top 1%, but you need some help filling in the gap to get you to that 0.01%, to make you just some of the best, then hit me up on Discord and I can get you in some private one-on-one coaching lessons to help you polish up any skills you want to refine and help you learn all of the secrets to becoming a top player. That's it. I hope you enjoy the video. Hey everybody, Mo here, and today I'm bringing you guys another episode of Meta Monday. This week's meta will be going over basically everything that's been played in the last 7 days and Masters Rank, like the top 8 decks, the most popular decks, and I'll give you guys some my insight on these decks and what it looks like will be nice to climb with on the ladder. If you plan to climb ladder this week and gain some sweet LP, get to whatever rank you're trying to hit, or if you're in Masters, get more LP to secure that top 700 spot so you can qualify for the seasonals. But before we get into the video, I wanted to remind you guys that 72% of the people that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to me. So if you guys could do me a huge favor and click that subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. It'd help me out so much with the YouTube algorithm. If you could let me know in the comments down below what type of videos you want to see from me in the future. If you like these educational guides, if you just want to see more gameplay of fun decks or competitive decks, or what it is you guys want to see from me. I do read the comments. I've posted multiple videos based on comments recently, including things like Discard Aggro and the Fiora deck that I most recently did were both inspired from the comment section. So without anything else, let's get into the top 8. So coming in at number 1, the most played deck on ladder and Masters at the moment is, oh wait, this is all ranks. What the heck? Alright, there we go. Coming in at Masters is, it didn't really change, Cinnavigar. So Darkness. Darkness is the most played deck in all of Ranked and Masters. The deck's really good. Who knew? Old deck was already pretty high on the tier list. So people, you either considered it tier 1 or like the best tier 2 deck. And then it just gets like, oh, let me bring the deck list up on screen for you. And then it just brings, you now get a bunch of cards like a lot of people are playing Wallop. Wallop is pretty good. A lot of people are playing like Transposition over Miscall. Transposition, pretty good over Miscall. And it kind of just got better with the new cards. So it's very interesting to see how old decks, with even just the addition of like 1 or 2 cards, go from being this like, okay, yeah, you're a pretty good deck, to holy shit, this deck is extremely strong. And I always think that's really cool to see. Sometimes people forget about decks completely, and then they get a couple buffed cards in them, and then all of a sudden the deck is really broken. So I feel like that's kind of what we saw here with Darkness. The deck was kind of just cruising, got a couple new cards. This version right here is not playing it, but it got a couple new cards, and it was absolutely broken ever since then. So very cool to see stuff like that happen. Deck number 2 is Yumi Pantheon. This deck's kind of on the come up. We haven't seen Yumi played in really anything. A lot of people considered Yumi to be the second worst champion of the expansion. Just better than Udyr. Udyr is just completely unplayable. And people also thought that Yumi was unplayable. People figured there's no reason to ever play Yumi when you can just play Taric. I kind of stand behind that sentiment still, but I mean, can't argue with statistics, right? So I guess Yumi Pantheon's been doing pretty good. It has a really good matchup into Darkness. I know Pantheon, Taric also had a good matchup into Darkness. So yeah, you see here it says it has a good matchup into Darkness. Darkness used to say like its worst matchup used to be, yeah, the like Yumi Pantheon. So depending on the player, this matchup is really good. If you can master this matchup as the Pantheon Yumi player, you can master the Darkness matchup, then you should be gaining an insane amount of LP. Number 3 is going to be Yaya, I believe. Yeah. So Yaya Rally, this deck is basically, for those of you who don't know, this deck is like a Swarm Bandle City deck. Then its goal is to just print out a bunch of units and then play Yordle in Arms and kill you, because Yordle in Arms basically says, I spend 5 mana and I threaten lethal this turn. Not much to it. It's very frustrating to play against. I think this deck is insanely good. You basically just play a bunch of units, and then you never run out of cards because you're in Bandle City, which is a very balanced region. So you play a unit, it generates you a unit. You play that unit, that generates you another unit, and you just get this full board of units. You play Yordle arms, you swing in for like 50 damage. Your opponent has to block with their entire board. So now your opponent doesn't have a board and is probably at like, you know, less than 10 HP if they got hit by 2 units. So usually you just go 6 wide pretty quickly. I mean, I'm talking you can be 6 wide by turns 4 or 5. And then casting that Yordle in arms and just like, you know, killing your opponent. And it's not very fun. And then if you ever get to 9 mana, your opponent just gets to go, okay, Yordle in arms rally, and the game is just done. There's no possible way for you to survive that turn. Outside of cards like Ruination, of course, but most decks aren't playing those. Like, even Darkness decks aren't really playing those. So, extremely strong is really annoying Bandle City deck. Literally everything people hate about Bandle City and Demacia is put into one deck right here. So if you love both of those regions and you love the toxicity, play this deck. I mean, it has a 58% win rate for a reason. Deck is broken. If you hate Bandle City and Demacia for all the toxic reasons, this is your worst nightmare. Alright, coming in at number 4 is Caitlyn Ezreal. So, Caitlyn Ezreal, for those of you who might not remember, Draven Ezreal was a very strong tier 1 deck for almost 2 years, for a very, very long time in Legends of Runeterra competitive scene and on ladder. And basically all this is just an updated version that plays Caitlyn over Ezreal and plays like a Culling Strike. A lot of people thought Culling Strike would be really, really good in this meta because it just absolutely dunks on Formidable and it beats things like Gleaming Lantern. Culling Strike beat a lot of things in this meta. So it's nice to see that people are bringing back the Caitlyn Ezreal. This was one of the decks that Alan ZQ won Worlds Championship with, was this Caitlyn Ezreal. So I never thought this deck was bad. I think it kind of just got outvalued really hard by things like Yaya. But maybe because it has so many ways to remove things, and now with the Caitlyn traps, being able to kill your opponent's units without them responding, and it can kill them through things like Spell Shield, it's very, very annoying for your opponent to deal with this Caitlyn most of the time. Especially if they aren't playing hard removal, which most Bandle City decks are not playing hard removal. At least any type of cheap effective removal. Their only like hard removal is going to be the Tristana spell, and that's basically it. Some of them are playing Minimorph, but not very many of them. So it comes down to having exactly the Tristana spell. And then other than that, the goal of this deck is just to play a bunch of spells, kill your opponent's units, and then level up Ezreal, and you can either win with Ezreal's level up ability, or you just out-tempo them with things like Tri-Beam. So you play a bunch of 3 mana cards, you Tri-Beam your opponent's unit, humongous tempo swing because you both kill their unit and summon a big unit for yourself, and then usually just run away with the game from there on forward. Coming in at number 5, so the bottom 4 of the list is going to be Lurk. Not too much to be said about this deck. It's the same Lurk deck that we've seen for years. I mean, not literally years, hasn't been out that long, but that's been out for a little bit over a year now, I think. But yeah, it's literally the exact same Lurk deck we've seen for weeks. Not much has changed. Looks like people are playing like Ruthless Predator again to try and get that really fast Rek'Sai level up. So some people are trading out the Shurima 1-drop to fit in the extra like Preservariums and Ruthless Predator. This version seems like you'll miss Lurk a little bit more often, but if you hit your Lurk, it maybe can help you out in those scenarios because you have a lot more ways to like predict and hit Lurk and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm just not a fan of Lurk too much. I'll play it here and there. I'll bring it at a tournament if I think it's good. I think Lurk is basically good against exactly Darkness and Lee Sin. I don't think if you don't plan on playing against exactly those decks, you probably don't need to bring Lurk. So, yeah. That's my thoughts on Lurk. And then number 6, Sivir Akshan, making a comeback. So, let's see here. We're at 55% win rate. Yeah. So who knew? Broadwing, Petricite Broadwing. When I saw that card release, I wondered how long it would take to make it into this Akshan deck and bring it back. So they say people are playing the one of Vanguard Sergeant, one Radiant Guardian, some Petricite Broadwings. Cut down on the Fleet Feather Tracker because Petricite Broadwing does Fleet Feather Tracker better than Fleet Feather Tracker does it. So it's very cool. I think this deck is coming up because people think it's really good into Darkness. Yeah, you see it here as like a 66% win rate into Darkness. So you're really, really good into Darkness. You're good into Caitlyn Ezreal. You're good into Pike. You're good into Tree. You're good into Scouts. You're good into Timelines. And as you'll quickly see, that is literally every deck in this top 8. You have Tree, Quinn, you have Caitlyn Ezreal, Pike, like Darkness. The only decks you're bad against in this top 8 are Yumi, Pantheon, and Yaya. Literally, if you don't hit Lulu, Pantheon, or Yaya, Sivir Akshan is absolutely broken. This deck should be way up there in play rate. That's my tip for this week's Meta Monday. If you want to know, like, oh, what's the sleeper deck? What's the deck I need to be playing to gain LP? It is literally Sivir Akshan. Like, Sivir Akshan is unbelievably broken. It is super, super strong. If I was, like, hard grinding for rank 1 on every single ladder and was trying to get 1,000 LP this week, I would be playing Sivir Akshan because this deck is broken. Actually, I will be playing Sivir Akshan today on stream. And go follow me over on twitch.tv/emotional. I stream on there almost every single day. But I'll be playing some ranked ladder today, and I will be using Sivir Akshan. So if you want to see how strong this deck actually is, if you don't believe me, tune into my stream today. By the time this video goes live, I actually won't be streaming yet, but I'll be streaming pretty close after this video goes live. So go hit me up over there. And then number 7 is going to be Vandal Tree. Not really much to say about Vandal Tree. It's Vandal Tree. Very annoying deck. Play units. Play Vandal Tree. Pretty dumb deck. And number 8 is Scout. So the biggest drop off is Scouts being in the most played for the first like 2 weeks all the way down to 8 because people finally started hard targeting it. As you see here, look at its bad matchups. The Yumi Pantheon, the Sivir Akshan, the Lulu Fizz decks. The Lulu, at least it's not right. But like, yeah, these like all these Demacia decks like Draven Ezreal, oh yeah, Draven Caitlyn, insanely good against Scouts. Like insanely good against Scouts. So basically people just started hard targeting Scouts with all of the like top cut or all of these most played decks, and it has made it extremely frustrating for you to play Scouts and made it like, well, I'm not even getting my free wins anymore because there's just more decks that are hard targeting me than decks that I beat. And that's how meta shift is. One deck dominates, people get tired of it, find a counter, and then the meta shifts again and you have to find a new deck that dominates. So we're kind of in the in-between of like Darkness is dominating everything, so people are trying to find ways to counter Darkness. I'm telling you guys, Sivir Akshan is the wave. Like Sivir Akshan, Sivir Akshan, Sivir Akshan. This deck will bring you so much LP right now. This is the most, it's not even like really slept on because you see here it's like in the top 8 most played. It's just really towards the bottom and the win rate isn't that high, but it's really just like played by a lot of people. Like look at all the people that played it a lot. 87% win rate across almost 40 games, dude. This guy has almost a 90% win rate across 40 games. Okay, 80% win rate, 72% win rate, 71.5% win rate. Like, so go, 70% win rate. Like, come on, man. Like, Sivir Akshan broke. I don't know how to say it to you guys. Sivir Akshan broke. Play this deck, play this deck, play this deck. But that's going to be it for this Meta Monday. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm sorry, there's really not too much deck analysis to go into these like there used to be, where I would go over each deck, tell you kind of like why it's in the top 8, tell you what the deck does, all this type of stuff, because quite frankly, we've seen the exact same decks here for like a year now. Like literally, it's been like 6 months and we've seen the exact same decks like Lurk and Scouts and Darkness and whatever Vandal City pile we see here, Tree. So that's why I'm not really going into the very specifics of each deck, because I'm sure you've heard it, I'm sure you've seen it, and I honestly, quite honestly, just get tired of saying the same thing over and over and over again every week. So until Riot gives us new decks, or until the players come up with new decks to make top 8 with, but Meta Mondays might stay a little bit short for that reasons. But yeah, what can you do? That's going to be it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a comment down below if you're going to try Sivir Akshan or not, or what you think a sleeper deck on ladder is, what you're using to climb with LP. Let me know what type of videos you want to see, all the type of good stuff. Leave a subscription so I can try and hit 6,000 subs. Go follow me on Twitch because I stream there almost every single day. Join my Discord. Link is in the description down below so you get notification whenever I post anything. And I'll see you guys in the next video.